Hey guys, this is Stephen SEO Floyd, and I would like to welcome you to September 2015 training in Source University. If you are new with us, I am your coach for client SEO. And today we are going to talk about a recent update that occurred in Google that has a significant impact for your local rankings. And that is the snack pack. So, the first question for you may be, what is a snack pack? Well, used to, before recent updates, when you were to put in a geo modifier, such as a city here, like Dallas, and then a keyword, what most commonly came up was a map result that contained 7 listings. And you guys would have seen it A, B, C, D, E, F, G. All right, is what you would have come up with. Now, some local listings do not contain a 7-pack or map listings. There won't be anything like this. Some used to contain 2, some used to contain 3, some used to contain 5, and some used to contain 7. But recently, Google changed all that, and now we are at 100% across the board, what is now being affectionately called the snack pack, which means that all map results, if there's going to be a map result, will now contain exactly 3 listings. All right. So guys, again, if you're doing local, you know what I've taught you in the past videos that I hope you've already watched, is that the way that we rank is not maps and it's not organic. We rank local, which means that it is a blend of the two. So I know a lot of you guys are wanting to know, kind of like, if we're not in this 3-pack here, how do we get there? And so I'm going to go ahead and cover that really soon. But before I do, I wanted to just go over a couple of the basic changes here. All right. So first of all, something that you guys would notice is that the phone number is missing. So used to be there was a phone number here that you could call or click to call if it was mobile. There also used to be an address here. So you'll see here now, you see a partial address, Switzer Avenue, for instance. This would have, before, this would have had the entire address. So you would have been able to, again, especially from a mobile result, you would have been able to just quickly type that into your phone, your mapping program, and go. So before, these results here, the way that they were set up, they didn't particularly encourage clicking through to any of these sites. So now, with the changes, they absolutely encourage that. So in many ways, a lot of you are going to be upset because you may have been in the 7-pack and now are not in the 3-pack, and the same thing for your clients. But over the long term, the way that this is represented, at least, is actually probably going to be good for not only the end user, but us as search marketers. Because what's happening is now, to get the information that we need from Google, we're going to be forced basically to make a click. Okay? So that is kind of the beginning that I wanted to cover with you guys. So in summary, when you are doing a local geo-modified search, geo-modified meaning you simply put the area in. So in this case, I chose Dallas, which is a city in the state of Texas in the country of the United States. That means that I'm going to be bringing up results that are local here for Dallas, Texas, United States. And most of the time, when you're looking for a local service provider, such as a roofer, a plumber, a locksmith, etc., you're going to have these map results, okay? You're going to have them now. There's more snack pack results now than there were 7-pack results. So again, there were some wins and some losses with this update. But overall, I think in the long term, this is actually going to be better for us as search marketers and for our clients. So again, quick summary, the 7-pack is now permanently a 3-pack. The 3-pack only contains some of the information that was contained in the old 7-pack results. However, the information that's missing actually encourages you to click through. So in my humble opinion, it may actually be a good thing. So let me show you also what happens now when we click on, I'm going to click on this link here to go to this. All right. So now this does bring up their Google Plus page, just like it did in the past, right? And this is, go through the Google My Business videos earlier in the course if you're not familiar with this, okay? And this looks very similar, okay? And, the map here very similar as well. A couple of things, these are minor, but I thought they're worth pointing out. The website is obscured now. It's a subtle tone. It's not as obvious. The way that these are organized, again, is very similar to what it was before. Very, very, very similar. All right. So let me go back to show you one more thing. When you click here for this more roofers, okay, I'm not sure exactly how this is different. I'm not sure if it's the scale that's different, what I'm looking at, but it seems to be more geo-centered to me. That's how this looks to me. It looks a lot more clean and a lot more geo-centered than it was before. So I think that some updates have been made to the actual visual representation of the map as well. All right. So again, there have been some changes. And as usual, what we're going to do is we are going to adapt to the changes, right? So that is going to be the summary. I know it was short, but I really think that that's everything that you need to know, honestly, about this update at this point. In the next training, I'm going to cover how to optimize for the snack pack and hopefully how to get in the snack pack if you are not in or if you fell out. Because I know a lot of you guys had clients that were in the 7-pack and you weren't in the top 3 position. Actually, some of you were, but either way, and now you've kind of lost that visibility altogether. So in the next video, we are going to cover that. All right, so that is going to be it for this training. This is just, again, the introduction. In the next video, we're going to cover some optimization tips and hopefully get you and your clients into the snack pack. So this is Stephen, SEO Floyd, and I will see you in the next training. Hey guys, this is Stephen, SEO Floyd, and I would like to welcome you back to the second video in the September 2015 Source University Client SEO Training. So what we covered in the last video was an introduction to an update that Google did recently that changed the way that local map results are displayed. So if you haven't watched that video yet, please go back and watch that before you watch this, because in that one, we went over kind of an introduction of what happened and why it matters for you. All right. So in this training, what we're going to talk about is we're going to talk about some ways to get into the snack pack, as we're calling it, if you are not in it or if you were in the 7-pack and you fell out. All right. So I know that this is why most of you guys are here, so we're going to jump right into it. Now, I want to throw one thing out right away. This is a very new update, and it's only been live for maybe less than a month now. And so the data that we have right now to analyze, frankly, is not a ton. Okay? So I want to tell you that right now, the information I'm going to provide you is based on my testing, the data from my client sites, and also the data from sites from friends that I have and things like that. Okay, so it's not exhaustive, all right, but honestly, sometimes it takes months before you can really kind of identify what happened with a Google change or a Google ranking update. And to be honest with you guys, in this one, I don't think that's the case. As we analyze the data across tons of search engine results, it looks like the key differentiators for who are the winners and who are the losers is fairly straightforward. All right. So I'm going to go over that next, but I want you to understand that in this, just like everything else that we teach in search engine marketing, search engine optimization training, there is no such thing as 100% rule. Okay. So if we say that, these are the things you should do to achieve this result, and you do that and you don't, it doesn't mean that we were wrong. It doesn't mean that we were giving you bad training. It means that there are hundreds of factors that are at play that have to do with Google ranking. And so if you are following our advice and not getting the results we're telling you, then the chances are that there's something else going on with your site, or you're not applying some of the other training. A site that's been penalized, for example, nothing that you do is going to work on it, right? So just keep that in mind. You should expect to achieve the results that we give you with the training that we give you. And the results that we tell you to expect are what we personally achieve and what many of our peers achieve. So it's not just us, it's not just me personally. The information that I provide to you is information, that's been verified by lots of other people and with lots of other clients. Okay. But again, if you try something and it doesn't work, best thing to do is to come back to the group and start asking questions. All right. Because I can tell you, when I've had students in the past who have said, we've applied, X, Y, and Z per your teachings and it's not working, when I've been able to go back and look at the individual case, I've been able to figure out why 100% of the time. Okay. I've been able to figure out why it's not working for them. All right. So with that in mind, I want to go ahead and go on to the next portion, which is basically how we're going to optimize for the snack pack. All right. So I'm going back here to my screen, and this is the same search engine result page that I pulled up earlier, Dallas Roofers. Okay. So the first thing that I want to point out is something that should be obvious, I think, but it probably isn't. So step number one is that you need to be sure that you've done everything that I've taught you in the past training. Okay. So everything that I've taught you in the past training is still viable, it's still accurate, it's still necessary, okay? So think of these things that I've taught you in the other sections as basic training, and this is just going to be optimizing a little bit more on top of that, all right? So if you have not watched and applied the other techniques that I've taught you, then go back and do those first before you even continue with this training, okay? Because this training builds upon it. So what I'm going to show you next is assuming that you have already done the other things that I've trained you to do, okay? So let me tell you what my experience has been with the snack pack with my personal clients and with a few of my personal friends who also have a fairly large client base. Most of us are in the 3-pack, the snack pack for our clients. Most of us did not lose any positions more than a few here and there, okay? So what that tells me right away is that the number one key to being in the snack pack is to do all the things that we've taught you previously. So the most important part of that for this is going to be all of the Google My Business optimizations, okay? So I have specific training on that in this course. So again, step one is to go back and make sure that you've done all the things in the Google My Business training. All right. So moving forward now, we're going to assume that you have done all those things. And if you have, you are probably in the 3-pack. And if you're not, you're probably close. Okay. So you're probably, 4, 5, or 6 for your client. All right. So here's where we're going to move next. So the first thing that I want you to recognize here is the reviews, okay? So this is something that I've talked about in previous training, and there's specific review training in the course. So again, if you've not watched that training from me, please go back and watch it and apply it. But one of the strongest ranking factors for this snack pack is going to be these reviews, okay? And that's just a simple fact. All right. Now, of course, again, just like everything else, there's going to be different results on different SERPs. Okay. So if you're talking about really obscure keywords in really small cities, or if you're talking about super tough niches in really competitive cities, then these things are still going to be true, but you may see some slightly different results. Okay, so you may pull up a snack pack and there's 3 of them in here and none of them have any reviews. Okay, that's possible. But what I'm telling you is, in the 90th percentile, as you analyze these snack packs, especially for things that you're going to want, okay, things that we're actually going to rank and things that have value for us as local search marketers, you're going to find that these reviews are more and more impactful. Okay, so step number 1, if you don't have at least the 5 reviews that it takes to get these stars, then you should stop this video and go get them. Okay, so, and if you're not familiar with what I'm talking about, again, in previous training in this course, what we show you is that in order to get these stars right here that you see, in order to get these to show up in the search engine results, you need to have a minimum of 5 on your Google My Business / Google Plus page. Okay, you need to have a minimum of 5 reviews. If you don't have these stars, you're not even in the game. Okay, so again, if you haven't done that, if you're looking down at the business you're trying to rank and you don't have these stars, stop the training, go get them, and then come back. All right? All right, so I'm assuming that you do have these stars. Okay, and again, if you don't, I would refer you to our previous training. One of the easiest things to do, guys, to get those 5 stars is to just have employees of the business and friends of the business leave a review. Okay, it only takes 5. It shouldn't be too hard for any normal business that's a real business to be able to get 5 people to log in and leave a review. Okay, so there's a quick tip before you start asking about buying reviews and trading reviews and all that other stuff. You should be able to get the 5 you need just from this simple method. The owners, the employees, and friends and family. Okay, so that's number 1. Make sure that you get your 5 reviews, and make sure a minimum so you can have those stars. Now, as you look here also, I'm going to go ahead and click on more. Now, what I don't want you to think is that there is a 100% direct correlation between the number of stars and the reviews and who's ranking number 1, okay? But it is part of it. Now, I picked this SERP randomly, okay? It's just one I've used in a lot of the examples, so I just went with it, okay? So I didn't handpick this. But if you look, the number 1 has a 4.9 rating, right? Which is pretty damn good, with 41 reviews, okay? The number 2 has a 4.4 rating with 33 reviews, okay? So as we go down, you'll see a 4.9 with 9, a 4.5 with 23, okay? Here's a 5.0 with 12. Here's a 4.9 with 7, okay? So what I'm telling you is there's not a direct correlation that says this number higher plus this number higher equals you win, okay? I'm not telling you that, but what I'm telling you is, again, if you were to run data across all of these snack packs, what you're going to find is that that's pretty much true most of the time, okay? So what do we want for reviews? We want a high number of highly rated reviews, right? And again, that should be no mystery to you. If you're not sure how to get reviews, then again, I refer you back to the review training. We go over a few methods there, all right? But this is going to be kind of step number 2, okay? So step number 1 for how do I get into / optimize my local listing to get into the snack pack is doing all the things that we've taught you previously, okay? That's step number 1. Once those are complete, step number 2 is that you're going to have at minimum 5 reviews here to get your stars, okay? But really what you're going to want to look at, honestly, is you're going to want to look at the pack you're fighting in, okay? So if I had a business, let's say that I had this business here, okay? And I have 4.5 stars with 23 reviews, all right? Then what this tells me is that my number of reviews is good to get in this here. It's close to getting here, right? But what this tells me is that if I were to up this score, right? This is a 4.5. This is simple math, right? So if I got 7 more reviews, that would be a 30% increase roughly in views, right? So if I had 7 more reviews that were all 5.0s, then that would bump this up, right, to probably a 4.7, right? Maybe a 4.8. I'm not sure, right? I don't want to do the math real quick, all right? But 4.8 with 30 reviews, right? More than likely, on this one factor alone, clearly would put you in number 3 and maybe put you in number 2, okay? So again, step number 1, optimize what we have told you to optimize before. Step number 2, look at the reviews, look at your SERP, and look at these 2 numbers. Where does my client stand as far as his overall star rating and how many total number of reviews, okay? That's number 2. All right, so the last one that we're going to cover is going to be an off-page factor, all right? And again, the information I'm going to give you now comes from data analysis. It's not something that I just pulled out of my nether regions. And so the third factor is going to be domain authority, okay? So it's going to be domain authority. And so how are we going to raise domain authority of our client site? The way that we're going to do that is we are going to get links from sites with high domain authority, okay? So simply put, if you're not familiar with what domain authority is a metric that is used by Moz.com, and it basically has to do with how it views a website as a whole, as far as its trust and its authority, okay? And what we found is that sites that have a higher domain authority, and there's lots of metrics that we can use, guys. There's DA, PA, CF, TF, right? There's lots of different numbers. PR, is basically dead, but there's all kinds of different numbers that we can use. And so far, what seems to have the highest correlation for this specific issue is going to be domain authority. So what we're going to want to do is we are going to want to get some links from some high domain authority sites that are legitimate. So there's lots of ways to get links with high domain authority. Pretty much all the techniques that we teach you for link building in this course are going to be valid. One of the ways that you can kind of get a double bang for your buck is going to be by having not only some domain authority added to your site, but also with some geo modifiers or some geolocator. So what do I mean by that? Anytime I say geo, of course, I mean geography, meaning location. All right, because remember, overall, the 2 things that matter in local, you have 2 types of relevance. There is niche and location. So, for example, when I'm looking at Dallas roofers, Dallas is the location, right? And roofers is the niche, okay? So, when I say that we're looking for high domain authority links to our site, but preferably with geo, that means that we're looking for links that are targeting our site that also have something to do with the location, all right? So, there's a lot of ways to do this. One way to do this, I'm going to put this in here. So I put in, for instance, Dallas Charity, all right? And when we look, you're going to see lots of charities in here. And one way that you can get some of these links is simply by, sponsoring, being a sponsor at a local charity event, okay? This is not, earth-shattering or new, right? This is a very old method that lots of SEOs use, all right? But basically what you're looking for is you're looking for a local charity who will give you a link in exchange for some type of donation or some type of sponsorship, okay? So I can tell you that, of course, these could be extremely high. These could be tens of thousands of dollars. But if you're going to look, you're going to find that there's going to be quite a few of these that have very little dollar amounts attached to them. And as far as your client goes, any type of donation is going to be a tax write-off. As long as the charity is a legitimate nonprofit, then their donation is a tax write-off. So yes, it costs, but it's not exactly the same as, buying your traditional links, right? So again, I've put Dallas Charity in here. One of the sites that I've shown you guys in the past is dropmylink.com. Okay. And dropmylink.com, when you go here, as I've shown you before, you sign up for a free account. But one of the things in here is a sponsor/donation links. Okay. Right. And so, let's do a sponsors page. Okay. So for this, I would put in Dallas, right, as the city. So now what it's going to do is it's going to go out and it's going to look for sites that have Dallas, but also a sponsors page. Okay. So what you can do, like what I've done, I have the Mosbar put on here. So it's going to give me, domain authority. So like this one here has a domain authority of 97, obviously very high. A domain authority of 70, very high. Domain authority of 32, very good. 33, okay? And, you may have to spend a little bit of time, okay, looking through these, all right? I'm not telling you you're going to find one in 30 seconds, okay? But if you look through, you're going to find links in here, okay? And the great thing about these are that typically these pretty much stay forever, right? Pretty much once, you have a sponsor page for an organization, most of the time those pages stay up forever, okay? So as an example, again, this isn't scripted. I just happened to choose this one. This site has a domain authority of a 35, which is very good, okay? And these are all the businesses that have sponsored them, all right? And so as you look through here, you'll see that, for instance, this is an image link that goes directly back to the client site, okay? So, and there's their URL. So, whatever it costs to be a sponsor in here, this is a permanent link, right? And again, I'll tell you, some of the smaller companies, you may be able to donate, $20, right? And get a local link like this, okay? Also, don't forget, and I don't want to go too much into this, but there's a thing called an in-kind sponsorship for a nonprofit, which means that you would donate something that has money value, but it's not actual money. So for instance, you could offer to do some website design work for them, right? Or some marketing work for them, or, anything like where you would do service in lieu of writing a check. And those things work also for sponsorship. So if you don't have a bunch of money to get started, you may be able to do some type of donation like that. All right. So, again, but for a business like this, and if you look here, you see how this link, it's got anchor text. You see that? Dallas Daycare, right? This was not like unintentional, right? The link for this is Dallas Daycare, right? So this company, I'm sure, really cares about this organization and wanted to sponsor them, but they're also understanding the SEO value of this. All right. So again, in conclusion, the steps to getting into the snack pack or going up in the snack pack, number one is going to be to apply the training that we taught previously, especially the Google My Business portions. Number two is going to be to look at the reviews in the map results, not only the score, but the number. And you want to, hopefully beat whoever's number one, but you at least want to be, better than whoever's number three in that, factor, right? And then the last thing is we want to get some high domain authority links going to our site, and preferably if these can be geo links, then that's even better. And again, the example that I showed you here, this is a local site. The anchor text here is Dallas Daycare. So this is a geo-targeted link, right, for the city of Dallas. And again, a domain authority of 35 is actually pretty good. So this is a good quality link here for us. All right. So that is going to be it for the snack pack training and for my portion of the training for September 2015. As new data comes in, if there are changes to this training, I promise you that as soon as I verify the new information, I will update and make it available here. But again, as I mentioned in the first video, myself and my personal students and my friends who all do client SEO, the vast majority of us did not lose any positions when it moved from 7 to 3. The vast majority of us stayed where we were or moved into the pack. So the core things, that number one, is still the most important factor. All right. So again, this is Stephen Floyd, and I will see you guys next month.